Hi everyone, your friendly neighborhood Pants is back with another Summoners War video. Today we're doing an account revamp for free-to-play RNG here. You can see his account record is C1 2300 days in, so he wants to get his account where it should be basically. He says he's mid-game, he's looking to get his BJ5 team working fine, some siege defenses and siege offenses as well. So this is a paid service that he's doing. If you're interested, my email's in the description. Just email me and we can talk. I think I'm going to start off with trying to do BJ5 because that's just something he wants to get out of the way. And then I'll work on his siege defenses because I want his defenses to have his better runes. And then we'll build some offenses for him too and test him out and that kind of thing. So let's get into it. All right, so when I rune up a BJ5 team, I want to start with the Baleygr because whatever his speed tuning is, everyone else will follow that. Of course, you're limited to whatever rage runes you have available to get Baleygr speed, so I like to rune him up first. His Baleygr was already runed, so you can see the only change I'm making in is this one rune here. The reason is I get just slightly more damage and I'm gaining more crit rate, which is really nice if we want to use this as like a Guild War offense with Kebenesanuf or whatever the water Anubis or Horus, water Horus guy's name is, but accuracy we don't care about. We are losing quite a bit of HP and defense. I will note, I gemmed in some flat HP here because you don't have any percent grinds available, but if you get a HP or defense percent gem, you can use that here instead, which would be helpful. According to the math I'm doing though, you're hitting the effective HP targets that you need, so you'll be okay. So this is the change that I'm doing to Baleygr. One thing I will note with this account is your glory towers are not quite there. He has been certainly going for him. I saw his speed is done, his crit damage is done. It looks like defense is at level 12, fire is at level 5, so certainly getting that one up will be helpful for Baleigr's damage. You could also do the light one for Lauren's damage. Our attack is at 17, HP at 6, so anyways, this is something that will of course help the entire account, but certainly your BJ5 team. You are in a level 30 guild, so you do have the 5% bonus from your guild, which is really important. I say really important. It makes a difference, especially if rune quality is lacking. But from what I can tell in the guide, this Baleygr should be able to do it. And then again, getting to 69 crit rate is just a nice pair with a crit rate buff. If you have a crit rate buff in Guild War, then that'll get you to 99 crit rate. So we can potentially make a Guild War offense using Baleygr. So that's that. And then going to be working on Lauren, Jansen, Colleen, and our leaders. So we have Shiwa, and then we have Inferno. I can't remember who the other leader is. Is it a third crit rate? I think that's what it is. It's like a Rakshasa or something. So I'll see if you have a Rakshasa. The rest of these should be fairly easy to rune. Just going to follow the guide and make sure the speed tuning is right. Make sure that effective HP of Colleen is right. Because Colleen is supposed to die. So since she's at a 6-star level 40, I have had a little bit of challenging in experience in my own tuning because like I just didn't have bad runes to give her being at max. A lot of people run her as 5-star because with 10,000, almost 11,000 base HP, it's kind of hard to make her die, but I think I'll be able to make it happen. All right, so it looks like I have the BJ5 team up and running. This is now the 5th round and there hasn't been any hiccups that I've seen at all. Each round has gone smoothly, around 27, 28 seconds per round. So that's exactly what you want to see. I will say I have all 3 of the standard leaders, the Fire Inferno, the Shiwa, and then I think I used the Dark Brownie Magician for the crit. One of them, I think it's the Brownie, I'm missing 1 fight rune for slot 5, which any fight rune will work there. Like you just need any white rune, but he doesn't have any available. So I'm gonna farm Rift to try and find one just so he has all 3 leads available. And then I did save all 3 versions as decks so he can switch to and from them fairly quickly. And then of course locked all the monsters and that kind of thing. Following a guide on Reddit or any YouTube video makes this team just super easy to build. And certainly he needs to be farming raids from looking at his account so far. He's got a lot of grinds that he needs to get. I mean, a lot of runes that he needs to get too, but it all comes with time. So I'll just show the team real quick. Here's how his Baleygr ended up. Last time I showed it to you, his artifacts weren't maxed. So I maxed out his artifacts. Lauren, I have at plus 31 speed, which is the minimum speed that she needs to like match this Baleygr speed tuning. So 30, like if I was plus 30, then this would be inconsistent and not work. I do have slot 4 attack. They do recommend slot 4 crit damage, but I can't make that happen on this account. Slot 4 attack seems to be working just fine. I got her at the effective HP that she needs to be. Jansen was probably the most difficult to get where he needed to be as far as effective HP goes on triple fight. He did have at least some decent will runes to help out Lauren and Colleen to get to their effective HP, but Jansen was a little bit of trouble. Of course, the leader skill is just on whatever garbage you can find, and same with Dagora, just any kind of garbage you put on him, and as long as he's in between Jansen and the lead in speed. I'm pretty sure that's right. Excuse me. Anywhere between Jansen and Baleygr in speed, not the leader skill. The leader skill speed doesn't matter, I don't think, because they just are there to die anyways, so. But that's that. BJ5 complete. Now that this is done, I'm gonna... Oh. Okay, looks like, for a second I thought we failed, but it wasn't a fail. We just had someone disconnect or something. All right, so no failing. That's good. I did want to test in public rating rather than like with guildmates or with friends, because public rating is always the worst. I find it very consistent that public raids, it's like this kind of stuff happens or someone's team isn't built correctly. So generally I have public raids be my last option. Now that said, I don't even run BJ5 anymore. I'm running solo R5 mostly because I'm that guy. The guy who just left, that's me. I all the time am AFK, I'll disconnect, all that kind of thing. So I'm a horrible raid partner. So whenever solo R5 came out, I was just like instantaneously excited to build that, because I'm just, this is not for me. I'm not a good buddy in this case. But anyways, he's got BJ5 now, which should certainly help his progression. Hopefully help him farm some mana. If I ever do this for another account, I'm going to demand that you have like a certain minimum amount of mana. This guy only had 3 million, which is just, it's already gone.
We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
What?
So now I have to farm the rest of the account with no mana, or rune the rest of the account. It's just like impossible. Like I should have asked, you know, make sure you have 20 million mana or something, because I'm going to spend it easily. If you're going to rune an entire account, you're going to need lots of mana. It doesn't matter if you have free rune removal or anything like that, because you got to power up the runes to see how they roll. And that's going to take 42 years and lots of mana. So that's that. Anyways, we'll move on to the next part. All right, now that BJ5 is done, I went over to his defenses here in Siege, and I did take a look at his guild, and they're a Conqueror level, and you know, they aren't sinks. Like the defenses, they aren't running a Tower Fall, Seer, Cleric, Cocky, for example, which is to be expected in the lower level guilds. So I'm just runing up or making defenses of whatever seems good, basically. My main goal, since he's at a lower level, is basically to minimize the chances for siege farmers to be able to farm his defenses. That's like the goal. Of course, if you're at the rank you should be competitive on a rune level, but you know, siege farmers exist, and I just don't want him to be getting 1v3'd and 2v3'd with his defenses. So I want them to be multi-element. He does have pretty good monsters on his list. I mean, you can see he's got Iris, he's got Sierra, he's got Molong, he's got Odin. So anyways, these are the defenses that I'm thinking of runing up for him. We'll see how much rune depth I can get out of him and make it happen, but I think this will be a solid lineup for him. Some of these are, you know, fairly old defenses, like Molong, Harmonia, Tyrannus was meta in G3 maybe like 2.5-3 years ago. Not so much today. Not that Molong isn't meta, Molong is, but this defense altogether is not really. But in G1, I think it'll still be able to function. Okay, yeah, so his guild is currently C2, so anyways, I think his defenses will certainly function, and he could change guilds to more of a C3 G1 range or something like that, and I still think these defenses will do fine there, assuming I can get them runed up fairly nicely. So I'm going to try and get them at the very least speed tuned. As far as efficiency, I don't think I'm going to be able to get any kind of crazy efficiency, which is fine. Like, that's just what it'll be. Also, since he doesn't have mana, I told him I'm just going to throw runes on there that I think have the most amount of potential, and so it'll be up to him to power them up to max and then farm BJ5 and get him grinded and all that. So that's the current plan. After defenses, I'll rune up a few offenses for him that he can use and show him how to use it, and that'll be that. All right, so I got his defenses runed up now. I'll show you what we got here. So Sierra, Clara, Kaki, his Sierra, and really I'll just say all of his monsters suffer from runes and artifacts not being powered up. I did message him and let him know that he can farm for just crappy artifacts and power them up to 15 just for extra stats, but you can see Sierra's lacking quite a bit of HP, a whole lot of defense. Speed is okay, accuracy is okay. Most early game players aren't going to be able to do a crit rate build that's just like too far-fetched with their rune quality, which is fine. So I have him on, I think, speed, HP, attack, and this attack rune was 5-star, which is bad, but it had quite a bit of speed on him. So of course nothing is grinded either, and that kind of thing. I don't know what people tend to recommend these days, but me personally, I don't think I would grind a 5-star rune. That's just me. Even if it has 19 speed, I don't know if everyone would agree with that. Some people will say, well, 19 speed is my fastest slot 6, so I'm going to grind it. And it's like, well, fair enough. I can't really argue there. But, and also, grinds are common enough, I think, that it's fine. Ancient grinds, on the other hand, me personally, I would never use ancient grinds on a rune that I don't think is worth it. That's just me. Let's see here. So slot 5, we have innate attack, which is fine. It's better to have innate accuracy here and then speed in all 3%, so got that flip-flopped, but it's a pretty good rune. Focus runes for accuracy, and then artifacts have some bomb damage, some skill 2 accuracy, so it's an okay early game Sierra. Clara, decent amount of speed, missing an artifact, missing skill ups, so be in a guild, go into the guild shop, get guild pieces for purees, and you can max skiller, and that'll be very helpful. Kaki, usually you want on Violent. I could not make Violent happen for him. He had him runed on Vampire, which is okay, but I like, since he heals himself already, might as well run him on something that gives a little more utility than just extra healing. So I did Despair since he has an AoE, and it's just nice with Clara, strip and stuns, and then Kaki, more stuns, so I think it'll do okay. Very squishy, which, I mean, most Kakis are pretty squishy just because base stats are so bad, but a decent amount of attack. Certainly be higher, but it's okay. Also, needing skill ups. Tessarion, Vigor, and Xingzhe, pretty solid. Missing artifact. Not urgent to get this max skilled. If you have Nat 5s that need Devil Mons, I would put them into that before maxing skill 1s of Nat 5s, if that makes sense. 102 speed is okay. This will be, most of his monsters are going to be around the 205 breakpoint rather than 239 or 286, which is to be expected. Overall, decent bruiser stats for an early game monster, I think. Blade isn't ideal. Really, any kind of rune type that isn't giving like an additional utility is not as good as one that gives an additional utility. Like Nemesis runes, Revenge runes, Despair, Violent, anything like that will almost always be superior to runes that just give more stats. So in this case, Blade runes are giving more crit rate, which you can see is kind of necessary. We're at 74 crit rate, even with the 12% bonus in crit rate. So it's not as good as what you'd want it to be. I run my own Tessarion on Destroy. I did see he had a couple of good Destroy runes, but he would just be lacking so much crit rate, so I went with Blade. But that's his Desarion. Looking at it now, also missing quite a bit of defense. If you could, I would look for flat defense, main stats, artifacts, and then you can get 200 more defense that way, so that'd be solid. Vigor is fairly tanky, not crazy speed, but that's okay. I do like the accuracy. The accuracy is pretty high on Violent Will, which is solid. Zingze, we have Violent Revenge, HP, crit damage, attack, 215, so still in the 205 breakpoint, which is fine. Could maybe run slot 2 speed to get him to 239, but since the other two are in the 205 breakpoint, there's not much of a advantage of doing that, I don't think. And then 68 crit rate isn't too great, but it is what it is. I could, I guess, look for Blade runes here instead of Revenge runes, but I really like this rune. This rune is just solid for him, just needs grinds. I mean, that's a late game rune in my opinion. I would use that on my monsters. Molong, Harmonia, Tyrannus. Again, missing artifacts. Just speed, HP, Violent Will on the Molong. I did get 100 resistance on the Harmonia using Endure runes, so Violent Endure. That one is max skilled except for slot 1 or skill 1, so that's good. Tyrannus needs Devils for sure. He's worth putting Devilmons into. Certainly the least common denominator in this defense, lacking quite a bit of HP. Again, runes need to be powered up. I wonder if it'd be better to just like run speed defense rather than crit damage, and then get like crit rate from substats, but I settled on this. So here's the artifacts, a bunch of stats with bad HP. Attack R when revived isn't the greatest thing ever, but at least it's synergistic. Carcano, Iris, Triana is a pretty strong defense just by the monsters alone. His Iris I did get decently fast. Plus 135 isn't like too great, but he does have room for grinds to get quite a bit faster. I guess there's the third one. So 3 runes that, you know, can get grinded, so that's another 10 to 15 speed. So that'd be pretty solid. Missing an artifact, missing skill ups. She is certainly worth skilling up, so I would do that. Also on Revenge, which is awesome. Carcano is certainly lacking. Carcano is already a very difficult monster to build, so early game he's going to be incredibly difficult to build, but that's okay. Certainly want Violent runes on him, certainly want max skills. Come to us, 4-star Devils, please, for the love of God. Triana missing Devilmons, missing 1 skill up in the passive and a few into skill 1. And then just classic Kamoon Bastet Odin, probably like a 1.5 year old thing. I could run Tessarion, but I kind of like Tessarion in the spot that I put him in. We got Swift Will on Bastet, decent amount of speed. She is max skilled, that's good. Kamoon got the shield set for Odin. Nothing too crazy here. Definitely not crit damage build, that would be just impossible. So it's kind of unnecessary to have the 21 crit damage from subs that I have, but it is what it is. Plus 108 speed is decent enough for where he's at. And then Odin, missing an artifact, had to go on Fatal. I did look for Rage. His only Rage crit damage rune with speed and crit rate is on the Baleygr for BJ5, which he was looking to get. So settled on Fatal. Should do a decent amount of damage. Certainly not tanky at all, so people will be able to kill it. I would put Devilmons into your Odin for sure as well. His skill 1 will get a lot more damage that way. The passive isn't as important because it's unlikely that it'll cycle, not being on violent and that kind of thing. Anyways, that's the defenses we settled on. I'm gonna now just go and try and make a handful of offenses for him, probably some shield will teams, maybe a bruiser team or 2, and then I'll be all set. All right, so here's the first offense I made up for him. I kind of foreshadowed this one to be here whenever I was showing Baleygur's rune, getting him to almost 70 crit rate. So with QB's crit rate buff, he'll be right around 100 at 99. But anyways, Luer is not quite 85 accuracy. That's where you want him to be, though if he powers this up, he'll get there. Or, right, isn't that plus 9? Doesn't he get to 65? So he'll be 2 away. Anyways, you'll be much better off if you power up your runes. That's just how it is. Currently, I have spent all the mana, so this offense is very strong into anything with no immunity, also with anything that doesn't have a stripper. If it has either of those things, it becomes significantly less viable. The higher ranking you go, defenses are going to have strippers. So anyways, this one, the only stripper is Eladriel's skill 1, which is nothing special. So I guess you can bring it into certain strippers, but it kind of depends on the stripper. So just show you how it works. Basically, you use QB's skill 3. It's impressive that Eladriel is pretty fast because I have this Swift Will at like plus 145, something like that. So that's pretty fast Eladriel. Luer used skill 3. He lands his defense breaks, gets cleansed, super fun. And then you go smack with Baleygr. So here I think I'm just gonna skill 1 on the Eladriel. And then here I'll maybe try and stun the Cocky. Nice. And I'm gonna skill 2 here. Hopefully Fang revenges and kills QB to give Baleygr max stacks. Well, Cocky died anyway, so super max stacks. So we'll do this. Now Fang is dead, Eladriel will come back. And then we go Papow again. So anyways, it's a very fun offense. I used to use it a lot whenever Jean was in the meta as a defense monster, which I think in lower ranks you should probably still see Jean comps. You basically lose if like Luer doesn't land any defense breaks, or if your Baleygr is lacking damage, but your Baleygr hits pretty hard. So I think it's certainly viable for the ranking you're at, and it's pretty fun to use. So there's offense number 1. All right, so here's a classic one: Sabrina, Talia, and Harmonia. I also threw some runes onto Chloe, so that's another option. Triana's runed up, so Triana's another option. Basically, water twins with some kind of support. Sometimes, like into Martina, Shayna, Triana, you want a light tank there, like a Shushu or a Belladionne, a Sheer also, or Shaman. There's plenty of options for the 3rd slot there. Here I'm going to bring against one of his guildmates, Kamoon Vigor Skogles. You can see the runes here. It's a crit damage Kamoon, Swift Vigor, and a Violent Skoggle. Fairly tanky. The first time I played against it, I actually did fail. The Sabrina died immediately to Skogle's Rock, so I had to power up her HP a bit. And then also the Harmonia slot 6, I maxed that because she died immediately to Kamoon's skill 2 after the rock drop. So when I tried it the next time, I was successful. So here is round 3. We'll see how it performs this time. Unfortunate, no defense break. Oof, no defense break there either. Go ahead and do the heal. You can see it's some fat damage. Alright, so there's Dead Vigor. Actually landed the defense break that time. Let's do this onto Skoggle. And cycle, land defense break, very nice. Unfortunate proc. Let's finish off Kamoon. Sweet. And work on Skoggle. So Sabrina I have on Violent. Talia I have on Fatal. Typically I like Vampire because of this exact scenario. They have like no HP. So Vampire helps a lot because they deal a lot of damage, so they gain their health right back. The only thing could be Vigor and Kamoon both have heal block, so that can prevent it. But anyways, looks like it worked out here. So with the newly powered up runes, I am 2-0. Overall, I'm 2-1 with that first one where the runes weren't powered up. So as you get mana, power up the runes, and this will get more and more consistent. But that's another option for you. All right, so I think this is the last offense I'll showcase here. Galleon, Laika, Triana, I typically see into Savannah defenses. However, the only Savannah defense I could find in the guild was Veramos, Sigmara, Savannah, which just isn't very scary, I'll say. I guess Veramos cleanses away the Galleon defense break, but it's whatever. Anyways, Sierra Trasoon Perna, I guess, is a little more threatening. I did test it against a Sierra Anavel Fengyan, which technically Laika isn't great into Anavel, but it was a paper Anavel. I basically one-shot it. So I've tested this a few times. I haven't tested it here. I'm assuming it'll work just fine though. This is a very solid offense. It functions like a shield wheel offense, though it isn't technically a shield wheel offense because Laika is on Vampire Nemesis. There's no shield set here. There's only 2 will runes. You can see here Triana's outspeeding, which isn't ideal. That's not really what you want here, but it's okay. Galleon also outspeeding. So Sierra will violent proc out of her defense break, which is fine. We're just gonna smack Jasoon. And then we're gonna heal up Galleon. Let's skill 2 Perna. Finish off Perna. Defense break. Sleep? No sleep. That's okay. So almost dead Galleon, not quite. We will just skill 1 here. Let's try and finish Perna. Not quite. Alright. So now I would do skill 2 here, but I want there to be bad RNG. I don't like that I violent procced out. So I'm just gonna skill 1 and hopefully not sleep or do anything. I decreased attack bar, but that's fine. Alright, so now I will heal. It might not be a max skilled Sierra. I feel like she was supposed to bomb unless that was a derp. But anyways, paper thin. So anyways, Galleon, Laika, Triana is very solid. It works against a variety of things, like I said. Speaking of versatile offenses, I've actually made a video where I show 10 versatile offenses that are all free to play. I'll put that link in the top right corner of this video, and feel free to watch that, and you can try and make those teams with the units you have available. Like I said, they're all free to play, so I think you'll be able to make all of them, or ones that are similar anyway. I think this is good for this part. Last thing he wanted me to take a look at was his Labyrinth teams, so I'm gonna take a look at Labyrinth, and that should be it. Alright, so last thing you wanted me to check out here was his Tartarus team, or Tartarus, tartar sauce, whatever. So we have Bastet here with the Kamoon Bastet Odin team. We have Perna. I runed up on Violent Will in case you wanted to use it in like a guild offense. If you want to put together another defense with them, that's fine too. Dios here. Certainly power up the runes there and will perform a little bit better. Annabelle again, and then Tyrannus, which is on the Molong Harmonia Tyrannus team. Not having skill ups is going to be a problem in this case because we want to be using that revive. Really, we want to be having a second reviver here too. I mean, we have Perna who does a self-revive, but if you had like the Wind of Picyon priest built, or Eladriel, Beta, some other second reviver, probably in place of Dios, this will be a bit safer. I'm gonna want to try and auto it because I don't want to manual stuff anymore. Yeah, I actually, speaking of my other videos, I do have a auto Tartarus on Hell video, so you can check out the comps that I use there. In the comments in those videos, people discuss, what they use for autoing it, so you can take other people's suggestions as well and come up with something that works for you. Certainly, as time goes on, just power up your runes and should be able to transition from hard to hell, but we'll stick with hard for now in this video. So I just remembered, I think every single mini boss is alive currently, which makes me think there's like no chance this team is going to work. Not with his runes anyways, and certainly not on full auto. So I'm thinking I might just, well, whatever. I'll let it play out. If it works, I'd be very surprised. It's going to take a while no matter what. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just go down to easy. And I'll say it's safe when at least one or two of the mini bosses is dead. But currently, it's they're still alive. yeah, with 2 people dead and Triana's not max skilled, I'm just gonna quit out. We'll auto on easy and call that good enough. Alright, so there's that. We'll keep, well, now he's got 9 of them. And whatever, we'll keep it. Let him decide what to do with it. Alright, so I did do the SWC scroll code thing from, the tournament. So we can summon that. He did message me and said that would be fine. He said my lightning rate sucks, so maybe I'll do better here. We'll do these little mystical scrolls that I've gotten while farming on his account. It's to be expected. Alright, and then we can get this disappointment next. We can see what his list is. Nana makes sense. Leo, Tiana, Savannah, I like all that. Chunpeng, Fang. Yeah, that's all solid. Tiana would be the only one that I'm like, I'd probably do Rika, especially since he told me he wants to focus more on guild content. I'll leave it alone. They're fine. We aren't going to get anything good anyways, so. Looks like Fuki. Well, if it's his first Fuki, that's solid. I would certainly awaken that and build it for a siege defense, because he is like easily the best wind bruiser. It's like not even close. I gotta go by grade. There we go. And we'll lock you. Alright, so that's all for this video. If you're interested in this kind of service from me, like I said, my email's in the description. So just message me and we can talk. I'll, of course, like farm on your account the entire time and mess around with whatever it is that you want me to mess around with. And this guy wanted, like, the whole package, basically. He just wanted me to ruin everything that I possibly could, so that's what I did. And yeah, bye.